Hey. Oh, okay. I could use a breath. You would take a breath with me? Yeah, just present. So look into what it feels like to be you today, how wondrous that is. Who do you think you are not today? So good morning, you beautiful awakening wonders. Hi, Julie. Here we are, R-ing along. So I kind of pay attention to this scientist, a neuroscientist, Huberman, Dr. Huberman, and he was telling that they. Uh, okay, so I start with that from the history or the lineage of these practices. Sometimes, and I've seen Lama Surya teach this too. Sometimes when we really distracted, um, he or they teach us to move our eyes laterally, like just go back and forth, or maybe they also say a few times vertical, a few times horizontal. It's something you can do when you're distracted. Interesting. So you just sit there and just look kind of crazy, just have your eyes move a little like that. Um, so I always thought, oh, okay, I do it. I think I maybe experience a relaxing, but I've been doing it more deliberately now because there's actually an official scientific studies plural have been done on it. So why would moving the eyes from side to side have any impact on states of mind? So so they're saying that indeed from the studies they have proven now that when you move your eyes horizontally a few times, that it calms down the mind. So that's indeed pretty incredible. So there was a study done, like I think around 2018, and there were like 25 papers written on it. Um, that they can that there was actually a study on trauma and stress, and they found that this lateral eye movement, and they say not up and down. And okay, so from this tradition, they say up and down too. So you just play with it. Um, that it actually quietens the activity of the amygdala or the amygdala limbic structure, and um, and it also so that is the part of the brain that is responsible for threat detection. So that's this this tendency to have this little veil of fear always present, or when that becomes more predominant. So it's something you can play with, right? So especially in the middle of your meditation, you go like, "Wow, I'm really falling into thought a lot." Maybe try to play with that a little. So, and then they have shown with MRI scans that the amygdala actually shrinks from mindfulness, right? So meditators have smaller amygdalas. So this fear and emotion region of your brain can actually physically shrink. So there is some. Here is the scientific purpose of our practice, and so, and while I'm on the brain part, the posterior cingulate, another brain region, which is more connected with wandering thoughts and paying attention to self or self reference, um, mind wandering with its tendency towards negative bias, not feeling so good about myself or my situation, or the experience of subjectivity in the world. um, even even that becomes influenced by meditation. Of course, in these studies, they always call it mindfulness because that's what they are paying attention to in the academic world. But So that's how I kind of started flowing when I was sometimes in those spaces. And then I would ask, who or what is it that is mindful? So I ask you that right now. Who or what is it that is mindful of your experience? Who or what is it that knows your experience? So let's take a breath. And then just ask, who am I? What am I? And then from these loving teachings, the answer is, I'm the expression of love in the world. I'm the expression of skillful means of compassion. What? Me? Even my shitty neighbors? Wow. May they all kind of awaken or completely awaken to the realization of that. So we start awakening in our lives, and then often we, because we all yogis here, we wake up in the middle, at the heart of distraction, and we end up what Matthew Bransfield calls the walk of shame back into presence. I love that. This feeling like, wow, you know. So really fake it while you make it by every time when you come back into presence and you feel a little bit of that negativity or that little disappointment. God, I've been meditating for so long, yet I'm still distracted. We just say, welcome home. It's just the fact that you have that moment of realizing of a homecoming, like a, a refuge at the heart of the storm of life, that is so amazing. And again, realizing that 95 or whatever, high 90s% of humanity will never have that moment. They will forever be stuck in that little story of, of lack. So when presence is failed again in our life and we occasionally fall back into old reactivity and maybe negativity by identifying with the thinking mind, we fall back into unconsciousness. We don't evaluate the beautiful complete enlightenment that arises lovingly when we do come back to that moment. And then no concern, it will start populating our days and lives more and more. So then we practice and experience awakening by turning our hearts into somewhat of an artistic expression of beauty. And feeling into the boundless potential of our hearts. So maybe feel into your heart right now. Let's take a breath. Feel into your heart. Only goodness there. Anything that is shimmering with incompleteness, not niceness, or whatever negative term you want to use, is a thought up in the office. But home in the heart, only goodness. Don't let anyone, especially your own thoughts, tell you otherwise. And then we feel safe in this sweet collective on this call. Collective of deliberately awakened good hearts. So now the collective heart of the Sangha. And paying attention at that level equals love. Let's take a breath together. Presencing, open, relaxing the negative mind states, even if the little subconscious ones, becoming very meticulous about every flow of our mind, and then opening up to the whole sphere that contains the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and perceptions. Paying attention to our body, feeling maybe a bit of a tension field. That's why we do, if the body has a lot of entrenched emotion, we do yoga. And then finding each other in a synchronized flow of maybe chanting and understanding each other in communication is where a lot of healing happens. So some of these ancient mantras that we do here, chants, are syllables of perfect knowledge. So physical yoga to shake loose these informants of difficult mind states stuck in the body. Allow all channels in the body to be freed. It's the same for the freeing of the movement of the voice. Maybe we could call it voice or speech yoga when we kind of sound. So when we as a collective kind of chant, and you don't even like it, just resonate at least. Just make your voice sound while being in present awareness, habituating sounding from that compassionate heart and the openness, the freedom of being. And then allowing our sounding, our speech to become more and more purified. And then ultimately every word we utter is for the healing of all those that enter our environment. And then ultimately reverberating in concentric circles throughout this sea of beings, this luminous ocean of awareness space. So most positive mind states are fostered just for mere intent. So let's set our intent. So let's set the foundation with a breath by really being present in it. So setting our intention towards awakening, feel into that. Realizing that all ingredients that will help us towards awakening are completely present right here in our state of being. And may that awakening be for the benefit of all beings. Awakening does not take a lifetime even. It doesn't even take time. Awakened right now. The Buddha arising on your seat. What does it feel like to be an enlightened, victorious one, as they call it in the teachings? This is it. Bright mind, fresh mind, loving mind, boundless heart, to sitting in the continuity of the recognition of the goodness expression of our hearts and the luminous, spacious nature of mind. Allowing awareness to wake up to itself automatically, awakening to itself from within itself as itself. Natural body, natural breath and energy, natural heart and mind. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity, beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. Sangye chodang soki choknam la, jangchu bardu dakni kyapsuchi, daki jin soki pe sonam ki, dola penshir sangye dupashuk. In Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Spiritual Community, we go for refuge until fully enlightened. By the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize beautiful awakened, loving Buddhahood. Om Ahung Ben Sargu Pe Mai Siddhi Om. 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 The sounding is the meditation. Om Ahung Ben Sargu Pe Mai Siddhi Om. Om Ahung Ben Sargu Pe Mai Siddhi Om. Softly, gently. Om Ahum Benzagur Be My City Om Ahum Benzagur Be My City. One more time, it's just too hard. Silent stillness, openness, spaciousness, in which sounds and whole lives arise and dissolve. Allow awareness to flow out from the heart and saturate the space all around with the knowing of being. Brightly awakened awareness with all the cells engaged, every cell an expression of the whole. Gazing into the space from the heart. Being a field of awareness. Mingle awareness with the spacious field, and the spacious field with awareness. Not so local. So not just gazing in the field, but being the field of awareness. Just play with that. Not so much a meditator here, but more of a boundless, luminous awareness that knows that it is. Then a thought may flow like a bird in the sky. We smile until it fades away. Yet always, I'm here. Home, welcome home. Maybe start to contract a little contract a little too much into a seriousness. Realize that's one of the pointing out instructions coming down is lightheartedness. Just free. Relaxed, decontracted. Relaxing into the already present excellence. Notice that this shimmering immediacy of awareness is always right with us. Relax the mind and shine as the light, the knowing quality stands up all on its own. All pervading, boundless. So no periphery, flow out. And let's take a breath together. Refresh, fresh mind. And be even more aware. A lot more aware. pushing your head out of the clouds into the boundless blue sky-like nature of mind, luminous. Notice not only complete distraction, maybe notice little dips, little dullnesses, and then just relax and shine. So then Padmasambhava warns that sometimes practitioners of Mahayoga or these practices can get attached to space and awareness, or divide space and awareness into two. Just that's more relaxing, and also allowing the mind to move a little, not holding like a tightness. Just there to just let it flow a little. And if your mind is too evocative and you get too easily distracted, then just repeat a sentence or imagine a beautiful vista. Walk on a path that you know in your mind. Do something creative with your mind. So the simultaneous mind of the openness, spacious awareness, and practicing movement without distraction. And yes, you can come back to this open spaciousness. Now you play on your own with some movement or stillness, and both. So more and more when we allow to be present in our life as this open, spacious field of luminous awareness, whatever arises does not really have seductive qualities anymore. Even when it becomes really intense, and we might get to that place that Krishnamurti calls, I don't mind what happens. Keeping our hearts open to the intensity of the moment with love, no matter what that moment feels like. So in this moment of loving presence, if you have the stability of presence right now, why don't you allow maybe an image of you as a young child, like 5 years old, or an age around that time, and you feel you have a memory. And no matter how we grew up, we all have a little bit, as humans, a little bit of the wounded child syndrome. Just look at that child and just say from the heart, you are safe with me. There will never be a time again that you are not safe. I love you. You will live to love. Hold the child to your heart. You will always be safe. I will always be right here. Just look for me, and I'm here. Let's take a breath together. Let go of all visualizations. Gaze into the space all around. Flow out. Shimmering presence. Gratitude for all my life's little wounds, so they may be the inspiration of my compassion and the understanding of the incredible tenderness of the human condition. maybe don't like everyone, but I love everyone. Keep asking throughout the day, what is the foundation or origin I'm expressing my life from right now? Am I aware? What level of awareness? Is there a lot of local resonance and psychological residue, karmic residue, or is it open and free? Just keep turning, keep looking over and over, keep shifting towards awakening. And every shift is the perfect shift. There are no bad shifts. Just the intention to look. You have already shifted from ordinary mind into awakened mind. Do it as frequent as you can. It's always right with us. Always right with us. Limitless, lucid, bright, loving, knowing, awakened awareness. Boundless. That's my identity. Everything else is just playfulness. And on behalf of all beings, thank you so much for your beautiful practice. Gewadi nurdu dak, dzokpa chempo druk yornye, doa chikyang malupa, dei sala gropar shuk. Through this virtue, may we swiftly realize and fully embody the natural great perfection, and thereby bring all, without exception, towards complete realization. Jiangchup semchok rinpoche, makyepanam kegyorchik, kepanyam par me paharyang, gongne gongdu pelvashuk. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout all realms of existence, an end to war, violence, poverty, injustice, and oppression. And may we all together complete the spiritual journey, one family, heart to heart, all the way home. Love you very much. Thank you so much for being with us. So, of course, the wounded child example is Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh uses that. So I'm also planning on having maybe a healing meditation in the next few weeks, where I don't know, at a maybe different time, because it might get really vivid, and maybe a bit of trauma might arise and things like that. So I will do it as conscious and loving as I can, and maybe you want to explore a little bit more of the healing of the wounded child meditation. If that's something you want to do, you can also let me know that you maybe think it's a good idea, or maybe if there are any concerns or any worries about that practice for you or somebody you know, we can talk about it. Oh no, we won't talk about others, about you. And so yeah, if anything is coming up about your practice lately, or right now with us now, or anything you want to share or teach us, oh no, that puts a lot of pressure on. Any word we utter is a teaching.
Hey, Timo.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hey, hey.
we'll just I love this so. Um, you know, so when you did the 5-year-old child, I have my arms like I'm embracing the child. And the first thought, of course, it's ego. It wasn't anything, nothing to do. And I go, hold it. And the unconscious mind makes all these judgments and then, or whatever, and stores it. So I went, no, I'm putting my 5-year-old in this circle. And then when I did that, it came to me that put all the 5-year-old children, all the children, and tears just came because I felt the suffering, the wounds that we have that we feel, and we don't know how to let them go. So it's so beautiful, Timo. That is so freeing that we can let it go in thoughts for not just our unconscious self, and conscious self, but all beings, how horrible things can be for people.
So now we know how to let it go, but because we are awakening, it comes with the responsibility of the immediate arising of the teacher. So yeah, so it's very important to look into, a whole psychology, and so
Mm-hmm,
we can do some deliberate healing there.
mm-hmm,
It's something, we are careful for spiritual bypassing, and therefore this is
mm-hmm,
like the first step into not spiritual bypassing. And if there's truly a traumatic present, a
mm-hmm,
realization there, then of course there are, you know, Western methods and psychotherapy and all those things that
mm-hmm,
shouldn't be overlooked.
mm-hmm,
And so, yeah, this is a sensitive place to step in.
mm-hmm.
Often our wounded child is overlooked, especially when we have already quite a measure of healing going on. I'm doing pretty well. I know I'm mm, already have the capacity to be a healing presence in situations with people at times or a lot. That doesn't mean there are still certain, remnants of woundedness. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and then ultimately realizing, yeah, so I will always have a bit of scar tissue in places. But like I said, during the meditation, now it becomes the inspiration of understanding.
Let it come up, let it come up and be with it. And like you said, each of us do. I do breathing in and out, but for everyone. But wow, that's big because we're letting go of all these judgments and thoughts that I put on myself and other people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was a little bit the opposite for a moment. It wasn't letting go. It's actually going towards it now, right? Actually,
Oh,
it's,
to look at it, huh? Mm-hmm.
and even if the child is already quite healed, then it still likes to be held. That's what children are for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was it. I held it in my embrace. Yes. And like we said, you're loved. I love you.
And in your
Yeah.
and in your attention and in your awakened awareness and in the shining of the goodness of your heart and in the deliberate words, the creativity of what comes up, your child. You will recognize, you will go like, oh, I don't even want to look at. But then at that moment, you go like, oh yeah, I know. I'm this parent awareness. I know I know what needs to be said in this moment for the child to awaken to.
Yeah, the whole thing awakens. Wow, thanks, team. Whoa.
Thank you, Glenda.
Timo, that was very powerful for me because I had a pretty challenging night with this COVID, and I feel like my inner child was really scared.
Oh,
And when you mentioned that, that was my oh, I went right there. I was like, oh, that's what's happening. My inner child's really scared right now,
yes, Nance.
and it was really powerful for me to hear your words and oh, bringing up some tears right now. Hear your words and to know that I'm safe. I'm safe, and that child is safe, and
Yes.
that yeah, I'm scared right now, but it was one day. Today might be better.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. It was very powerful. I'm not turning the camera on because I'm in bed laying
Yeah.
down. So
So, Nance, your voice sounds quite strong for how sick you might be. How are you feeling?
um it was a really rough night. But I feel a little better today.
Are you
This
safe?
morning
Are you breathing okay during the night?
I'm breathing okay. I'm breathing okay, but the coughing, I didn't have a cough until last night. The cough got really bad.
Uh-huh.
I have COVID.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, if I do anything, I get really short of breath and breathing's a little bit harder. It's just a little scary because I don't usually have trouble breathing. So that's kind of frightening.
Don't you take care of your father?
I do, I
So how
do.
does that work in your current state?
I have a caregiver who she and my father had it in June. So
Yeah.
so far they're testing negative and she's here with us around the clock. And I come out only to help transfer him because he can't be transferred alone with one person. So I get all masked up and everything. I go help and then I come right back to the room. So far we've kept him negative and I hope that continues.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you could still join us and that was a bit
Oh, it's
benefit.
important for me to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You rest and drink a lot of fluids and whatever. Whatever advice would be needed here.
But that was a very powerful meditation, and would like to take further a look at my inner child with you.
Okay, great. So just one saying that means it's going to happen, and I will start thinking about how to do it right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Timo, not that you need a second vote, but I'll put in a second vote to continue
Yes.
down that path. But since one is enough to get you going, but
No.
I really appreciate that practice, and it reminds me that quite often when I notice sort of patterns or habitual thinking kind of things that I stew on, I always like to try to figure out where it came from. I ask, when did this start? And the number of times that it goes back to that point, the sometime in childhood, the 5-year-old, the 7-year-old, or something like that. It's always amazing to me. Like we're kind of this crazy onion with all these layers, but so many of them track back to that not feeling safe, when we're young. And so just going straight to that healing seems to really just let all those layers just kind of fall away a little bit, some of those habits and defense mechanisms and other things. So I really like that. It seems to really get to the heart of things.
Oh, that's beautiful, Nathan. Thank you. And then maybe sometimes there's a little bit of concern. It's like, I don't really specifically know. I said a moment ago, we intuitively will know the right thing to say. And at the same time, there's a bit of concern. I know there is something a bit wounded there, but I don't know explicitly what it is because it happened maybe when we were very young, or it has been stuffed away so deeply it can really doesn't come up. But just by having that intent of the healing and the child in us realizing that it's being paid attention to, just being in the shining of the deliberate loving intention is like kind of a global healing already. And I think if the practice feels like it has purpose, like some of you are saying, then I think more things will arise. And the moment they arise into the open, knowing lovingness, that's the healing right there, right? So and then maybe at that point you can go like, oh, is it just a letting go-ness right now, or suddenly I realize, oh, might have to work with this some more, so I can take it into my private meditation. You can this can be done. So Ken Wilber also in his psychology teachings, when they do shadow work, when you do shadow work, you can actually have two chairs, right? And just ask the question. You go sit in the one chair and go like, "Hey, you just, why are you sad, or why, whatever it is that the feeling or emotion we're talking about, or thought pattern," and you go to that other seat, right? And it's amazing. I knew about it. I had read the book, and I went like, "Yeah, that sounds interesting," and I didn't do it because it felt a little silly. I actually did it I could have done it more. A few times I did it, and it was amazing the answers that came up. It wasn't contrived at all. It became a really real conversation, right? So it becomes real, that paying attention to the wounded child, or to the all these entities with okay, that's Eckhart Tolle talking about thoughts and emotions and feelings as entities in our bodies, right? So talking to all the entities, all these facets of the diamond, and then ultimately all real, it's all like it's all light shining, it's all the creativity or the playfulness of mind. Yeah, Nathan, I went a little beyond what you said, but I really heard that you appreciated the practice. So we can even talk about it. I mean, that's what we're doing now. But anybody that wants to talk with me about it, one on one, we can get on Zoom, or you can email me, and then you have a sangha around you. Maybe there are others in this room that you communicate or can communicate with, because we're all working on healing ourselves, so we may heal everyone. There we are.
As everyone's been talking about wounded child issues, it suddenly popped into my head that maybe it all tracks back to a sort of primal trauma of being in our essence unborn and undying, and finding ourselves in a very vulnerable and tender human body that's
Definitely.
at risk for all manner of things.
Yeah.
And so that maybe all our traumas that we then experience as part of being a life form and very vulnerable may actually stem from that originally.
Yeah.
I don't know, just thought.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I often say that phrase, the tenderness of the human condition. You kind of hear me say that, and that I really mean that. It's so tender being human. And then, then the wounded child, we go like, it might end up being feeling like, oh, that's a little self-indulgent. I don't know, maybe somebody might think that, or from the external or from within. But, I mean, maybe a bit of the like you said, the collective child, hinting at the collective experience of being human, the tribe, the family we were born into, the tribe, the tribe of all humans on this planet. There's obviously plenty wounding going on, just listening to the news. So if we don't pay attention to our own wounds, how can we pay attention to the wounds of others? So that's the playfulness where we are right now, is this sangha. And I guess it's a flow that has some meaning. So great.
Hi, Demo,
Hi, Terry.
and everybody else. It it brings up another practice that I did many years ago with John McCransky,
Oh yeah.
Lama John, and it was the benefactor practice. And the practice is. I love his phraseology. He says you unfurl the mind, and then you touch into a benefactor, a helper, somebody who cared about you. And I think the important thing he said about the benefactor was, this doesn't have to be someone perfect. It could have been a teacher or a coach or your parents or whatever. But, he said the important quality to touch into is that they genuinely cared about your well-being. That moment when you felt cared for, is the sense of a benefactor. And I sort of felt like when you took us through the process today, that I became my own benefactor.
Yeah.
That sense of I love you is very profound. Like it causes a lot of emotion, I think, to come up, because it's like, I think normally in our everyday life, it's sort of it's like, is that okay? Are we allowed to like do that? You know, it's kind of almost like when I really felt into it, it did feel safe. It felt like a kind of ground, you know. And I would definitely like to explore this further. So
Okay.
I'm on board.
Yeah. I love how you said that you become your own benefactor, right? That's what we're working on. And then yeah, because here's all this beautiful practice we do and we get pretty good at like, oh, this I am love and I live to love. Great phrase. Now let's put that into motion and we point it first at the wounded child at the heart of the whole like concentric circle movement of love, right? So yeah, great. I like how you said that and yeah, we will play with that and yeah, maybe I will connect it to a loving kindness practice where we bring in like the ones in our lives that have appeared. We put those around there too, right? That appeared in our lives that were of loving benefit, right? So doing this, we also it's the continuation of their love that they, we taking over from their responsibility, and it's like showing a certain amount of gratitude towards all those that loved us by continuing, that love, and so much gratitude for all those that appeared in our lives that held us already. So now we move on from there. Thank you, Terry.
Hi, Timo.
Jesse.
Hi. Thank you for your guidance. I'm back. I too, I just want to piggyback off what others have said. I'd like to be a part of the wounded child sort of exploration too, but mostly, frankly, because I have no idea of any of the wounds like from my childhood. I feel like I feel like more so any wounds that I might have experienced in my life has come from just the idea of like different conditions and concepts that were taught to me from a young age that were so black and white, that didn't leave a lot of room for ambiguity, which resurface now in this practice, in the dissolving sort of these concepts, which so shaped me. But so yeah, I'd like to be involved because I need to explore that. And I'd like to hear what other people's experience has been in this, with this kind of guidance. So yeah, but thank you and count me in.
So happy to have you back anyway. But so yeah, not knowing the wounds that I was hinting at a moment ago. I realized I have that too a little bit, and I know some explicit ones, and then some like I can feel, but you don't have to know those wounds to be healing. But it's going to be, and then again, yes. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe some knowing will arise of these conditions that we have forgotten. And but that's not necessarily what we're really aiming at. We're just aiming at the child really feeling the loving intent and feeling safe. It's about feeling safe. So we want to take refuge in our own hearts and minds, so that better be a clean house, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.
So Timo,
Bonnie.
I'd be very interested in this as well, as you might guess. So the issue, I think I'm losing something here. For me, is trust, and it takes a lot of trust to to do these practices. And so when that is wobbly, for whatever reason, just kind of basic trust. So I think that I could really benefit from looking more at that.
Well, it's a courageous practice too, of course. You know, I mean, all of these practices are a hero's path. But so when you say trust, you mean you feel like going into that space with the sensitive history of your life it feels a little bit unsafe or something. That's why you don't have trust.
Um, let's see how to put that. I'm not sure I know
That's okay.
better how to say it, but it's kind of an inherent trust, in the universe that
Oh,
that basic. Does that make sense?
oh yes. Yeah, definitely. So that's why that's a little bit maybe then faking while we make it too, is
Mhm.
because in some other in the Mahamudra tradition, they often when we set up all the intent, the kind of the setting up, surrounding ourselves with all the masters, and then setting the intent for all beings, and then really feeling into confidence and trust, right?
Mhm.
So feeling so you can kind of like so I feel like a wobbliness in my trust,
Yeah.
because the tenderness of the human condition.
Mhm.
So how can you have so nothing needs to be 100%. It's like
Mhm.
just if we have 1% trust, that's a good start, right?
Yeah.
And couples we have a lot more. There I am again with percentages. Guess it's a bit of a male thing, but it's also a bit pragmatic. But I know, there must be plenty trust in you because you're pretty diligent in your yogi practice. So, but yeah, I hear what you say. So we can maybe talk a bit more about trust also between us a little, and I understand that. So that's maybe a subject that comes up. How safe do I feel in the space of my life and in my own heart and stuff? But well, that's what we're working on, to make this a safe
Mhm.
space, make our heart's a safe space. It's the mind that doesn't make it a safe space, or the brain.
Yeah. Thank you.
I can't answer. I think I'm not giving you the best trust answer right now. I will
It's fine. Yeah.
think about it.
No, it's. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have to talk about where maybe you have to kind of look into, because you said it, but you maybe don't know explicitly where the trust wobbliness is, and
Mhm.
that's some vipassana practice. We diligently meditating all wobbliness of the field. Thank you, Bonnie. I will definitely erase the whole communication that we had after this. I feel this is getting to really very sensitive conversations. It doesn't need to be out publicly. So before I put this one on YouTube, it will stop before we start talking.
I'm fine with anything I've shared. So.
Okay. It's also
So,
something. It's also something anybody of you can tell me. Also, like I'm, not comfortable with what I
Mhm.
said to be public or
Mm.
something, and so we
I'm
can.
fine. I'm fine. But think about how I feel such a safety to share here. We sharing private, intimate the things with our lives. We're not real intimate, but but you know what I mean. This is what a lovely group. We can trust, Bonnie. We can say these things out loud.
Mhm.
So I felt that what we do in this group is so important that that's why I put them on YouTube. I originally put it on YouTube because some of us had said that, oh, I missed it, and I would still like to hear what.
hello.
Mhm.
Yes, Nancy, talking to
Hi,
me.
Suzette.
Did that. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, but obviously it's on YouTube, and I kind of had a feeling like, oh, we don't have a lot. I don't think we have views really outside of the group at this point, but it could happen, right? So I've talked with some about it, and so I understand that we have to navigate that clearly because I want everybody to feel safe, and so I will do my best to make sure that that's the case. and talk to me about it if that's an issue at any level. Please. Yes? Shall we go to our day if there's somebody have something burning?
I'm just picturing everybody as little 5-year-olds in all your little Zoom boxes. You look really cute. Let's go out on the yard now.
I got my toys ready to go.
Right.
Is that a Lego? Is that a Lego man?
It's a Lego man. Okay. Tina sent this to me because my my name in this tradition is Urgent Dorje, which is the lightning bolt, getting things done kind of. And this is also the Dorje in Sochen practice. It's like a lightning bolt. Also, the Tigli of the whole universe bursting out into duality. Right? Yet all, look how beautiful it is. Yet getting shit done on the path of the healing of all beings. So the 5-year-old has to work too at it. Here we go. We all have to do it. Okay, sweethearts.
I just want to.
Oh, don't
I
forget.
just want to thank you for. Sorry.
I'm listening to you.
I just want to thank you for introducing that idea of exploring all that more. I can't think of a safer space where we could do that. So
Thank you, sweetheart.
thank you.
So I'll be here at noon again for the reading of Longchenpa. So it's a Dharma retreat day among your busy life. If you want to be with me at noon, I'll be here again and I'll read a chapter out of the book, and it will be about 35-40 minutes or a partial of that. Anytime you can be with us is appreciated. Have a beautiful day. Maybe I'll see you at noon.
Bye, Timo. Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.